Hi everyone, Kim Watson here with a new process video. Today I'm going to show you how I created this page for Hip Kit Club using the July kits. Today I'm going to focus on the color kit. In this color kit came not only a gorgeous selection of mists from Shimmer's paints, but also this pack of resist tags from Emmy Tangerine. Aren't they great? That varnish resist obviously will resist whatever color you put on it, which gives the tags a really nice 3D vibe. I chose sweethearts and dark stilettos for the first part of this card. I'm actually going to paint the pineapple card, and I thought, hey, who needs a yellow pineapple when you can have a nice pink pineapple? So I'm starting with the sweetheart mist, which incidentally has a really nice shimmery vibe once it's dry. I don't need to add actual color to this ink because obviously it's nice and liquid to start with. You'll see what I'm doing here is using a soft paintbrush and gently adding color around the resist area, filling in the pineapple. The dark stilettos I added on the right hand side to give the pineapple a little more of a three-dimensional vibe. Now for the leaves, again, who needs green when you can have yellow? So I grabbed some of the Sunset strip from Shimmer's paints. It is a gorgeous vibrant yellow, and you'll see I'm just gently filling in the area around that varnished area, creating obviously the resist effect. I wanted to add a little bit more of the vibrancy, so grabbed some No Yoking from Shimmer's. Again, it's a really nice acid yellow, and it gives the yellow some nice depth. So we've got a combination of both of those shades which work really, really well together. Grabbing some of the pink stilettos, again, I merely just spread some, dabbed my paintbrush into that puddle, and now obviously adding some splatter. I'm carefully using some kitchen towel here just to take off the excess paint, because I don't know if you're like me, I get so involved with the layout, stick my hand into the wet paint and end up smudging it everywhere. So that's looking good. I'm really happy with that. I decided what I'd do is, just to further the watercolor vibe, is to take some of the paler Sunset Heart Pink, and with a wet brush, this time diluting the pink shade, I'm just going around the edge of the tag to give it a bit more definition. It's really, really faint. You can see there, you can hardly see it, but when it dries, it just really finishes that tag off perfectly. Now you'll see I've got my pink, it is going to be pink at some stage, my Flamingo cut file, which was one of the subscriber freebies I designed for Hip Kit Club for July. You'll notice what I've done is just added some extra ink to my puddles on the plastic, and I'm doing sort of a sort of drag and smudge vibe, which I love doing. The ink is going to be really wet, but that's actually okay, because what I do now is I just tilt the cut file, allowing the paint to just dribble down sort of wherever it ends up. It creates like a really nice blended organic vibe. Here what I'm doing is just loosely taking my paintbrush, mixing the paints randomly so that I've got an ombre effect happening, and I'm just literally like dabbing it onto the cut file in puddles of ink, because I want that ink nice and wet. So it'll pool in areas, which is absolutely fine. And you'll notice in a minute, I actually pick up the cut file, and now I'm going to tap it in different areas, allowing the paint to run. Now, I don't know if you're like me as well, I hate wasting, so what I'm going to do is just grab one of those other tags, and using the mushed up inks on the plastic, add some color to another tag, which I am going to add to my page. I want a little more yellow in that top right corner, so again, just using my paintbrush, grab some yellow, and again, it doesn't take skill. All you have to do is just sort of go with the flow and see where it happens. Yep, drop the paper. I do that all the time. Oh my, it can be such a klutz. anyhow, I didn't want to waste any, so I had a little piece of texture board lying around on my table. Again, I'm just adding ink so that I can use it again at a later stage. This is the finished article now that it's dry. I wanted some small areas of definition, so I grabbed a little bit of orange watercolor and added that to the pineapple. See, what I'm doing here is I'm just going to grab a selection of accents that go and that coordinate with the tags. That's the great thing about this July kit, is that depending on whatever my color palette is, I was able to find exactly what I needed, and I really wanted to work on the orange, pink and yellow ombre effect to put this page together. So this here is the set of exclusive chipboard die cuts that I designed for this July kit. That is the Amy Tan sticker booklet that came with the Project Life kit. I had a strip of Irit's gorgeous hand painted paper left over, and of course didn't want to waste it. So I thought what I'd do is use it as a border for this page. Also, because I had such busy accents, I really didn't want to create a page that was too busy, opting for the white background. Now, to make the border seem like it blended into the white background, I chose the same color mists that I used for the accents, and now I'm just randomly splattering like a crazy person there. It looks even worse, slightly speeded up, but anyway, here I am, just literally adding paint, adding splatters until it feels like it's blended. The different areas of the border inspiring obviously the colors of the ink that I'm using for the splatters. It's a combination again from shimmers of No Yoking, Sunset Strip, Mandarin Mai Tai, and then the pinks were the Sweetheart and the pink stilettos. And again, I'm just going to go and let that give that a blast from my hairdryer to get it to dry. Another token splatter. Adding the splatters onto the actual paper really helps to make it blend well into the white background. Adding mixed media to one's page is actually really a simple process. If you just keep it simple. I didn't even add gesso this time, which was amazing. Because it wasn't too saturated in wet medium, it didn't make the background warp. So what I thought I'd do now is I'd grab some of the Dear Lizzie paper with the black doodle flowers, and again take some of those mist colors, and I'm going to color them for a real tropical vibe, which is what I want for this page. Now, because the rest of the accents have this really nice watercolor painted vibe, I really wanted to make sure that everything blended well. So having these doodle flowers was a great way to sort of continue that theme throughout. Again, my trusty Hip Kit Club Ziploc bag came in handy. Some puddles of ink, as I used before. And now what I'm going to do is just randomly paint those doodle flowers. You'll notice that what I do is I grab the softer colors for the inside, and then using a wet brush, just blend the color into the rest of the petals. Again, I'm no watercolor professional, but once you sort of understand the theory of how watercolor works, it makes it a lot easier to get those colors to blend. I'm creating a bit of a peachy orange color by combining the pink with the yellow. Some yellow for the center. Here I am, just now that it's dry, grabbing some more of the pink stilettos, which I'm adding around the edges. The darker ink just gives a little bit more definition to those petals. The joy of painting in this watercolor style is that you build the inks let it dry, then add more color and build the inks. What it does is it just gives the petals some nice dimension instead of ordinary boring flat color. For this flower I wanted yellow and orange. I felt that the orange was maybe a little too, the yellow was a little too gold, so added some no yolking, which is more acidic, giving a beautiful blended yellow as opposed to just the flat color. I thought what I'd do is I'd grab my Prima Marketing watercolors from last month's kit. I just needed a little bit more vibrance in terms of the orange to give a little more contrast. And of course the colors from Prima are so vivid. I was thinking maybe that yellow flower was a little flat, so using those more intense colors really helped. Here I'm starting with orange. I'm just doing a quick blend vibe. Again, it doesn't have to be professional, it's just, I just sort of go with the flow and see where it ends up. Once it's dry, build color, add color until I get the right look. Obviously want to make sure that these flowers blend perfectly with the other accents that I've created, the flamingo and the tags. This is obviously a distinctly more orange flower. It's exactly what I'm wanting. A nice combination of colors for my tropical flowers, which I think are going to complement the rest of the page beautifully. Again, you can see I'm not being too careful. You don't have to be too pedantic about it. You can just add the color and the effect is loose and artsy and actually really great fun. Now I'm grabbing some of the gorgeous lime green from Shimmers. Don't Citron Me was the one shade, and the other shade is Hermit the Frog, which obviously has that gorgeous shimmer finish once it's dry. What I do is I find if I move the bottle between my hands, the material that's in the actual bottle creating the shimmer effect doesn't clog the center tube, as opposed to shaking it up and down, which then obviously forces that material straight up the tube, which then blocks it. And I don't know about you, but I hate it when my mists don't work. Frustrates me, and so many times I've, in my haste, shaken the bottle up and down, and then of course blocked the tube, can't use the mist. So annoying. Here I'm adding a little bit of the Well, bloom me down. I wanted a little bit more of the teal for contrast against that lime for the leaves. I always tend to start on the one side and then blend. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but I find I've just done this over the years. Here, a bit of the very dark green in the corner adds gorgeous contrast. And again, because the leaves are wet, the ink just blends into the paper, so these leaves are coming along nicely. I'm just going back into this orange flower. I just find, again, it's dried too flat, so if I use some more of the bright yellow, reposition that camera. I thought maybe that pink was a little too defined around the center of that flower, so by adding water it just caused it to blend a little more. A little baby orange flower, just in case I need some extras once I start putting the page together. I find that it's better actually to have more than too little, because to go back and try and mix the colors the same as what you had initially is almost impossible. So I find it's just easier to do it all at once. Again, not wanting to waste ink, I had a whole bunch of these tags. So this is just an experiment. I was obviously worried because I had the green and teal next to the orange. And of course, when you blend those two colors, you get mud, which is always revolting. But what I did here is I just thought I'd work into the areas determined by how the ink naturally sort of stuck onto that tag. So that bottom left had orange, so I thought I'd just work with whatever happened. Then I thought I'd add pink on the one side, work with the green and the yellow on the right hand side, and blend them as one would with the color wheel, because obviously colors next to each other blend to create other secondary pretty colors, as opposed to, let's say, the green and the orange, which is what I mentioned, which gives you this yucky sort of brown color, which is no good. Oh, see what I'm doing? What's happening there is it's too wet and it's blending, so I just dabbed with some kitchen towel to stop that blending process. There we have a gorgeous multicolor rainbow tag, just using whatever was on my plastic sheet there. Now that things are dry, I'm just going to quickly cut around them. Hope you don't mind me showing you this whole process. But sometimes it's great to see the entire process of how a page is put together. So hopefully I'll keep it in the actual the frame. My hands keep disappearing. Oh my. There we go, little leaf sprigs. So what I'll do is, what will happen is once I've cut all of these out, I'll have a great selection of not only leaves but also flowers, which will then complement the rest of my watercolor accents for this page. Again, not being too careful, just making sure that I'm cut the white away with a little tiny white border instead of having to cut exactly on the black line. I just find with these loose painted pages, one can get away with not being too careful. Pink flower, another leaf. And the last orange and pink flower. You know, you might find that as you put your page together, you won't need them all. But rather have too many than not enough, I say. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a quick tidy up, and then we'll get started on the page. Okay, let's get cracking. Here's my page nice and dry, and as you see, because there wasn't too much wet medium, the page hasn't warped. We're going to put dear little bird in the center of the page. Pride of place, because he's just so cute. I don't know about you, but I know people are saying, oh, so sick of this flamingo thing, but I don't know about you. I just love them. So I'm going to do photo, which because it's predominantly black, is a nice contrast focal area for the top of the bird there. What I'm doing is now might not appear like it at the moment, but I'm using a basic grid design. So elements left and right of the bird will have equal amount of weight. So I'm just sort of pushing things around until I feel that everything's working right. I'm working on cluster and cluster. Sometimes the symmetry of creating similar clusters is a great way to control a very loose, very artsy type of page. Here, get everything placed just right is obviously a hassle. Everything's sticking to each other, and I don't know about you, but my sleeve touches something and next minute you look again and all the accents are all over the place and you're like, oh, haven't taken a photo of the page, you don't know where you put everything, and anyhow. I decided to go for black accents. I wasn't going to do this initially. I was going to stick to a very simple palette of orange and pink, but then I thought, hang on, the photo has got such gorgeous black accents. What I would do is add some pink focal areas all the way around. Pink focal areas, what am I saying? Black focal areas at sort of 3 points around the page. Again, what they do is they just add visual anchors, which then obviously helps your eye to travel around the page. These glossy stickers were part of the exclusive epoxy stickers which I designed for Hip Kit Club for the July kits. You know, when I was designing all these exclusive accents, I knew that black would work really, really well with these bright, vibrant colors, so made sure that there was a good selection of both sentiments and little tiny accents across both the chipboard and the epoxy, which obviously are coming in really handy here. Here I'm just trying to find the perfect position for the black anchor points. I was really a little bit stumped. You can see I'm trying all sorts of areas, but just couldn't really get it to work. They go on, they go off. They go on, they go off. But I know what will happen is, you know, I do it often enough, and next minute I look again and voila, it's working and it's balanced. So I'm just making sure that I've got all the little bits that I'd planned to use. These tiny little bits might seem irrelevant in the greater scheme of things, but there's something so nice about the layering of small associated embellishments, which just add to the interest of the clusters. It adds to the 3-dimension, it adds to the layering, it just adds color dimension. All the little bits add sort of, just even if it's on a subliminal level, to not only the story and the meaning behind the page, but also add texture and interest. That brad had me stumped. I really wanted to use it. It had the little black stripy cone. Could not find anywhere for it to go. I'm just shifting the angle slightly. Sometimes it's the small tweaks that make your page work better than it did before. So here we go. I'm just going to add some adhesive. What I love to do is I love to puzzle out the page like I've done, and then once it is placed and once I'm absolutely perfect with the positioning, I literally take foam adhesive squares and add them at strategic points, that so in such a way that it actually holds the entire design together. That means that I don't have to literally take the entire cluster off, add glue or adhesive or whatever, and then try and put it back how I had it initially. I just find that once things have got its adhesive and you attempt to try and put them down, I don't know about you, but there's something that just that isn't as nice as it was the first time you do it. That first organic way it gets put down, that seems to just work so much better than when you remove things, add adhesive and put it back again. So I found over the years, putting pages together, literally I add adhesive and again little small strategic areas, and if put down properly, you find that the whole design sticks without the need for tons of adhesive. These little foam squares from adhesive from 3L are my absolute go-to 3-dimensional adhesive. I've been very, very grateful over the years in that I've been sponsored with so much adhesive. Hence, I've had so much of it over the years. I don't know, I mean, I know living in South Africa, it's not as easily available, and I'm sure that there are other brands, but it has been my go-to adhesive, 4-dimension like this. Do you guys have any preferences in terms of your foam adhesive? I know that there's lots of really good brands out there. I've tried a few, but I always tend to just go back to these squares from 3L. You'll notice that I'm starting to add the green highlights. What it does do is it adds again focal points which help one's eye to travel around the page. I mean, you know from all my previous videos, I'm an absolute stickler for working triangles within triangles, just in terms of color balance. And the way it is, you would say, oh, the page looks balanced, you know, it looks right. But in my mind, I'm thinking I need one more green area. You can see a slight hint of a green area in that orange chipboard flower top of the chill tag, but I might just add some more of those leaves that I painted painstakingly. So I'll show you in a second. Everything's falling, as you can see, they're rolling into the frame. I knocked all those inks over. Here I realized that tag wasn't as secure as I was hoping it would be. Look at those little cute wood veneer flowers which Kimberly Hutchinson designed. There was a sheet of exclusive wood veneer that came in the July kit. Actually, this July kit was full of exclusive. It was gorgeous. Gorgeous to work with, beautifully coordinated. I loved it. I'm just adding a few more dimensional bits. Couldn't get that hard to work. Now my last finishing touch is adding some fine black splatter. I just used a piece of packaging to make sure that I didn't splatter on any other parts of the page. Again, I've got this sort of diagonal thing happening from left to right across the page, and the black ink really finishes it off nicely. Now I'm going to add some journaling. Again, just using a little square of sorts and a fine tip marker. Added some black lines, and now I'm just going to write my thoughts. Adding the journaling in that little section between the tag and his legs, it forms part of that cluster that's happening there. Sometimes one can plonk journaling down and it really just looks completely wrong or out of place. I really truly believe in allowing things to, even if they touch marginally, it's called associative clustering, and it just works really well the way I've done it. Adding a date, and there I have it, my page. It's all finished. Golly, I know, a lot going on, a lot of watercolor technique, pretty simple stuff, as you can see. I absolutely love putting this page together. Working with all these products from Hip Kit Club really makes scrapbooking a page like this a dream. I'm just using some of these lovely little epoxy doodads from Simple Stories. They add a little bit of shine and understated bling to the page. And there we go, my page. Thanks for joining me. I've loved sharing this process video with you. Be sure to pop over to hipkitclub.net and grab a kit for yourself. Until next time, bye bye.